Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Ryal Thomas. This evening's topic is titled, Taking a Look at Death. But before we actually get started with this, I just want to say a few things because this is going to be a very, very sensitive show. We all have a tendency to look at death in so many different ways. So I want to just start off by saying that what I'm going to be talking about and what I'm going to be saying is actually my opinions. There's no facts behind any of this. It's just me thinking out loud, letting you guys out there in TV land know how I feel. Because death has a tendency to bring about so many different feelings. And I think all of us experience death in our own special way. Some of us grieve over it. Some of us rejoice over it. Some of us just look at it as this, that's just part of life, in which it is. There is a beginning and there is an end to everything. Life as we know it on this level. But it may be an afterlife that we very seldom discuss. And that afterlife may be dealing with a higher power, dealing with the Creator. But as we enter into looking at death, we must recognize what it brings out in us. How does it make us feel? Over a period of years, period of decades, we grow up and, we fall in love with our family members. We fall in love with our friends, and the feelings that we have encountered with each and every last one of these individuals. There are different feelings of love, different feelings of hate, just different feelings in general. And when those feelings are absent, when we realize that those feelings will no longer be present, that individual will not be able to share in some of the joy, will not be able to share in some of the hurt, will not be able to share in some of the companionship that we look forward to. That has an impact. That has an impact on all of us, knowing that that individual is gone. And so when people that you love and have a way of loving you in such a way maybe that no one else have showed you that love, when that feeling disappears, a little of us, in some cases a lot of us, it has an impact on us, because this is a feeling that we look forward to. This is a person that we look forward to waking up to. This is a person that we look forward to calling to. And so when they leave, a little bit of us leave as well. Now I want to move into this. Just want to give you a little bit of background information based on a feeling that maybe death can bring about. When I personally look at death, I have to think to myself, and I have to be realistic and know that it's part of life. But like you out there, I'm the same. I miss the person as well. But moving in closer to death, lying on your deathbed, we do not know under natural circumstances what's going on with the individual who happens to be dying. We may look at them and see someone suffering, but how do we know that they are suffering inside when they're moving closer to God? How do we know that? All of a sudden, you may catch a person smiling that's on their way out. You don't know what relationship God has with an individual who's getting ready to enter into his or her kingdom. See, you don't know what type of relationship, because one of the rewards to death is finally reaching an area that you can't reach here, but only through death. So you don't know if there's a relationship going on with a person that's dying under natural causes. You don't know, in the midst of all that, is this individual asking God for certain things? Is this individual asking God to bring home and let him see his lost son or his lost daughter, or someone that he or she may have loved so much in the past, and they have been wanting to see this individual for such a long time? You don't know if that's the wish of an individual. And all of a sudden, while you are gathered over the one that may be passing, to you here comes a stranger walking through the door. Unbeknown to you, that stranger is that person's child that he has been wondering about, or she has been wondering about for decades. You didn't call this individual. You're wondering who she or he may be. And all of a sudden, the person lying there in the bed looks up with a smile on his or her face, knowing that that's his or her child. Knowing that. And because the prayer has been answered, that person slowly moves into a everlasting sleep. A sleep. A beautiful sleep. See, I want to tell you something to make you think. Now, let's take example for a campfire. A campfire. See, if you're standing 50 yards away from it, you can't really feel the warmth, the heat that the campfire offers. You can't feel it. And see, as you get closer to the campfire, you start to feel the warmth, the heat. You start to feel the comfort of the heat. The same can be said, in my opinion, can be said about getting closer to God. See, things are revealed. You start to look back over your life, and you start to think about the things that you've done, the things that you should have done, the things that you could have done. You start to think about the wrong, because, see, when you move closer to God, righteousness comes about within your soul. Righteousness comes about within your spirit. So that's why people say, in my opinion, on his or her dying bed, they will tell you something. See, you don't know if God Almighty is reaching down, talking to that individual. See, in the midst of death, you don't know what's going on. You don't know. No one is telling us what's going on. Maybe the voice of the Lord is speaking to someone, because you have to come clean. Before you enter into the kingdom, you have to be clean. And the only way you can be clean is to get clean. See, the buck stops there in life. So I may have to tell you, not ask you, but tell you, get yourself together before you come up here. So as you are coming closer to me, you can't help but all of a sudden turn your ways over to the ways of righteousness. So you see a lot of people that may start going to church. And I'm not going to say church is not contributing to it, because it's the gathering of people in the support of the love that's for God that's making you want to change, because you're coming in the presence of the Lord's house. And when you're coming in the presence of the Lord, don't worry about who's in the church. Don't worry about what the congregation is saying about you. See, when you come close in the presence of the Lord, see, things are working with you. See, that's like death. That's death. And you may ask yourself, well, I don't understand. Mrs. So-and-so was such a good person, and, and she did all the good deeds, and why did God take her? Again, these are my opinions. See, I believe that God takes no one. In the beginning, God has given us free will to make decisions. And just because someone may be doing good deeds presently, it doesn't mean that they didn't attack their body physically in an early stage in life, where that things are now catching up to them. It may be internal things that may have happened to this individual. They may have done some things to their liver. They may have done some things that may affect their kidney. They may have done some things that have damaged the temple, and the temple is being your body. So I don't believe that God is actually taking people, because God has given life to all of us to enjoy. Now, some of us have made, decisions that may not be in the best interest of us, where that we shorten our life. And we can shorten our life by a lot of things. Getting involved with the wrong circumstances, getting involved with the wrong individuals, getting involved with things that may be damaging to our body, damaging to us mentally. See, but God has given you that choice. He's given you that free will to make that decision. So I'm not a believer that, yes, God may know when you are going to die, but God is not contributing to your death. I'm not going to give you life and at the same time contribute to your death. I'm not going to approve of you doing drugs or drinking and messing up your life internally, thinking that your life is not going to be harmed by that. Because it will be. It will be. Things will happen to you, and you can't sit by and blame God on some of the things that are happening to you. Not saying that God cannot step in and change things for you, because he or she can. God can do anything, but I do not believe that God is a God of vengeance to the point where death is given to someone who's seeking the love of him. So some things just happen. You may stumble upon a loved one, and that loved one may be sitting in a chair or lying in bed dead. You may go in there and say, get up. It's time to get up. It's time to have breakfast. And you may look at that individual, and that individual has one of the biggest smiles on their face, a glow of happiness, a glow of completion, a glow of joy. Because see, you don't know what has taken place. You don't know what has taken place in the midst of reaching the gates of eternal life. You don't know. Because before we reach that, we must cleanse ourselves. If you notice that there's a strange, beautiful love for the most when it comes to grandparents, when it comes to your grandparents. Because see, your grandparents They know this because, see, they are getting older and wiser as the days go by. They make the corrections in their grandchildren that they didn't do in their own children. So as they go through a process of eliminating the wrong, they bring forth the right. And see, when you bring forth righteousness, you actually bring forth the ways of the Lord. And we have to understand that. So sometime you can go talk to your grandmother when you can't talk to your mother. You can go talk to your grandfather when you can't talk to your father. Because, say, they listen with experience, knowing that their time is near. They have experienced the feelings that we have yet to experience. So they feel your heart. They feel your pain. They feel your joy. Sometimes our grandparents don't even have to say anything to you. Sometimes they can just reach over and touch you and pet you in a certain way, and things just disappear. Now, they are the true magicians of love. Understand what I'm trying to say, that there is a relationship with the Lord when it comes to death. There's a relationship. And how beautiful would it be if we understood that relationship? But one day, all of your questions will be answered only in death. That doesn't mean go looking for death, because it's coming. It's coming to all of us. So for you all that may be sad and feeling pain, understand that the individual that you may be feeling pain for is not feeling any pain at all. No. Don't hold on to your earthly feelings, thinking that they are feeling what you are feeling. Because if the truth be known, they wouldn't come back here for nothing. So you might as well understand that there is a relationship with the Lord when you start moving closer to the end of your life. You must understand that the Lord and your loved ones do not want to see their death be the death of you living. See, you must understand that. You may be saying to yourself, oh, I feel so lonely. Oh, I can't do without him. Or I can't do without her. Let me tell you something. The last thing that someone who loved you wants you to lie there in misery. That's the last thing they want to see you experiencing. Because the joy that they are around, should bring about the joy in you. See, death is actually a time to celebrate. That person may have left you with, or that person may be gone and you may be left. Let me just say that, because they didn't leave you with anything. You may be left with certain bills, certain responsibilities of raising the children. You don't know how you're going to do it. Oh, this has been really a hard thing for you to take. But get up. See, if you're lying down and if you can look up, you can get up. Understand that. So taking a deeper look at death, it's not a time to let two people die when one individual has moved on. So one person doesn't move on for the other person that's still here to move back. You pick up the pieces and you live for you, because you have a life. And this may be a strange statement that I'm getting ready to make next, but our turn is coming. We will experience the joy. We will experience the love. Our turn is coming. So while we not wait, but while we know that our turn is coming, we live. We live to reach an understanding of what we need to be doing to preparing ourselves to meet the creator of life. This is something that we must understand. A gardener will look at his crops and he will sit there and put pesticides and certain things to produce, he thinks, a better crop. He will walk through his crops and look around and see what needs to be done. See, yes, God is almighty, and I believe that he can move mountains and she can do anything. I don't know, but I do know there's a creator. But sometimes you need to go through things. See, God has given us all the tools to work with. Whether we use them correctly or not, they're there. But just knowing that God exists should allow you and should make you understand that you have the proper tools to move on. You have the proper tools to put your life together. So if you're looking at your life and you're feeling down on yourself and you're thinking about committing suicide or something like that, for what? For what? Gather your tools up. Your tools may be your thoughts. Gather things up in your mind and start distributing them properly. Start to remove yourself from this person if this person is hindering you. Start removing yourself from this job if this job is hindering you. Start to remove yourself from everything that's bringing you down. And start putting yourself in a position where you can utilize the tools that God has given you. Do you understand what I'm saying? That death is part of life, but you must live first to experience, to know that death is coming. Death is nothing we should be afraid of. It's a beautiful time right now. If you can look up, you can get up. If you can look around, you can be around. So that's what's wanted of you. That's the gift of life, is for you to utilize the tools that God has given you. So don't be so upset with your situation. Death will come to us all. None of us, not any of us, will escape it. So why not live? So why not get up from that mental slump that you are in? Stop walking around with a chip on your shoulder and pointing the finger. And some of you all out there may be upset with the Lord because you've prayed for things that hasn't come your way yet. But have you done anything about it to bring them your way? Your destiny is waiting on you. You bring forth the joy in your life, but you bring forth the joy by allowing the joy, the love of the Lord to be present in you. We all get mad. We all get discouraged at some point in time in life. But I'm not saying that prayer, see, prayer has a way of opening doors for you. It makes you think about what you need to do. See, when you pray about something, it kind of snaps open the door to your mind. See, you have prayed about it. You have said something. These words are coming out of your mouth. So when they come out of your mouth, they enter your mind. Mentally, you know now that I have to do something about it. See, it's cracking open the possibility of God triggering something in your mind to make you physically, actively get up and do something about your situation. Live your life, because death is coming, but it's not a bad thing. If you're sitting back and you're lying down because you're depressed, you don't know the tools. The tools are there. Reach them, pick them up, and use them. This has been Ryal Thomas. I've enjoyed this, and I hope you have as well. Thank you very much. Good night.